So let's get our hands really dirty now, and let's start talking about chain of thought prompting. So some of the things you really need to understand about chain of thought prompting is you need to be clear and specific. Write 3 to 4 sentences as an introductory paragraph. So if you were getting a blog from ChatGPT, you would ask for how you want the format or the output, the result to look like. Do you want an introductory paragraph? Do you want a summary at the end of it? Do you want a body to be split into header one, header two, and then paragraphs? So, you want to really give it as much detail and give it as much direction as possible. And then be clear about what it should do. Instruct it in the affirmative. Don't say vague things like, without sounding too promotional or salesy. So that's speaking in the negative. Speak in the positive and say things like, have a clear, confident tone, have a formal tone. Speaking to ChatGPT in the positive is language it will understand well. Another tip that I've found to be extremely useful is giving it an example. Suppose there's a competitor blog or one of your old blogs that you actually like. You can maybe then upload a PDF of that and say, this is a blog I really like. I want to replicate something like this for myself. Now, it can become really overwhelming to understand how such a long prompt, and these prompts are getting pretty long if you notice, which parts go where. There is a specific order of the prompt, an anatomy of good prompt that will give you a fabulous result. And this is the most important thing for you to understand first is the order of importance. The most important thing in your prompt, give it a clear task. Generate a blog would be a clear task. The second will be setting a context or a background. So I am writing a blog series that will be targeted towards such and such a client. That would be giving it context or background for what you need to use the blog for. The third thing would be giving it an example. So this could be, you could even copy and paste an output that works well for you. Suppose you are generating a post with ChatGPT. You can say, here's an old post of mine that performed really well, and then copy and paste that post in there, or maybe give it a PDF of a post that works well or a blog that works well, and then say that this is an example of something that's really, really good. The fourth thing that you have to think of is the format. What do you want the output to look like? This is especially important with social media because sometimes your output is a social media calendar that you're creating for the next 6 months. So, do you want your output to be as a table? That might be important to mention. The fifth part of the anatomy of a great prompt will be persona. So, who is the persona that will be reading this article, or who is your target audience? Most importantly, what is their designation? What are their areas of interest? Who are the people that you are directly marketing to? Is if you're selling shoes, what age group are your target audience in? Right. So you want to include as much data about the persona as possible. That will really help ChatGPT understand how the output should be. And then the last, and I would say the least important one, is tone of voice. So if you're able to give all the other details really well, it will be able to generate the right tone of voice based on that information. But if you're not able to establish that well with the first 5 parts of the anatomy, then you might want to really be like, what tone of voice suits your brand voice the best? Is it friendly? Is it formal? Is it business like? What is it? So you may want to put that in as well. So you can even give it a little more nuance, like friendly yet formal. That is something that ChatGPT will understand. So think about what your tone should seem like. So let's look at my prompt and see which parts of the anatomy I have hit well. I have said generate a 30-day calendar which contains 3 posts a day for a target audience of cloud security professionals, CISOs, and DevSecOps learners. So this is ideal for the post that I will be creating for my company, AppSec Engineer. So the format has been established. That's the calendar. And you also have a persona here, right? And then we have the background has been set, the context and the background. I am a content creator for an application security company, AppSec engineer. And then the context is I want to create a social media calendar that contains 3 posts a day, one of which is a short video. So this is part of a larger project that I'm working on. So I've set the context for what project it will be and what the goal of the project is. I have also given a task, a very clear task that says generate a 30-day calendar. That's a clear task. And then your example is here's an example of 1 day's post. So for a single day, I want 3 posts to go out. And I have given an example of what I would be happy with as an output for 1 day. And then what would make this really amazing? Follow up question. So suppose you got the output now from ChatGPT and it's looking good. And now you want to hone in on those fine things. And here's where the chain of thought prompt comes in. You will say add hashtags, and then it will understand from, if you've given it an example of a previous post with hashtags, it will be able to find the right hashtags that will work well for the post you're working on now. And then you can also add keywords, key phrases, and then you can say, make that table with columns. So suppose you're getting a social media calendar out of this, right? ChatGPT is kind of confused about what columns you require. You can define what column number 1 should have. So how I would use it is make that a table with column 1 and put into the bracket what the column 1 would be. So is that the header of the caption of the post, and then column 2 would be the body of the post, and then column 3 would be hashtags for that post, and then column 4 would be the perfect audience for this post. You can ask ChatGPT, is there something that I have forgotten to include? What else do you think I should have in this post? Do you think it needs an image? Do you think it should have been a carousel? Do you think it should have actually been a video and not a post at all? So you could ask it to give you suggestions for improvement. And based on other data that you've fed it and also, the internet at large, it will tell you what will perform better. Read the output. Do not assume that it will be right. This can cost you a lot in terms of brand trust from your customers. Please read the output.